Welcome back to 10 Minutes with Kindred. My name is Aja.
I am Fatine. How are you
We're
today?
We're collectively known as Kindred, the
family soul.
And in today's subject is going to be...
the real truth about raising kids while being in this business.
Okay. Yeah, let's talk about it. One of the things that people always ask us is, how do we maintain our family? Mm-hmm. How do you balance the music and the family? That is like the most popular.
It's been the question too, like pretty much since the very beginning
of our career. The thing is that
like, yes, how do we answer that?
We always typically answer like this. Let's go with our typical answer.
Right.
Our typical answer is always, we have a lot of support from family.
We do.
Right? Because that's the truth.
And we have had.
And we have and we do have a lot of support from family. And that was, that's the kind of general answer. Yes, patience, God, we hang in there, the kind of...
But the truth is probably there are many things that we probably do well and do right, but there are probably many things that we have missed as well from just being in this business, even in the way in which that we do it, and you can't deny that. And there's things that your kids will miss out on simply because of the nature of your job. But I think that is the same thing with any parent who has a job, a 9-to-5 job, and every day they have to go to work versus the way in which we work. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but I think that is all about the time. I mean, go ahead, you chime in.
No, one of the first things that I can think of that we, I guess, some quote unquote got wrong, or some of the things that didn't go as planned. With us.
Because I want to start there instead.
Yeah, let's go with the stuff everybody can kind of see for the general part what we got right. Let's talk about what we got wrong. So one of the first things I thought of was missing important dates for the kids, like not being there for certain programs or them doing certain things. Has always turned out to be actually like a fear later on, and I think a source of anxiety for us and the kids, where it'd be like, we agreed to do something. Oh gosh, what time of year is that? Are we going to miss so and so's first concert? Or this person's that. But then I think about it also too. My mother worked 2 jobs as a kid, and truthfully, she missed a lot of my stuff too, and she wasn't in the music business.
That's why I was trying to correlate back to.
I do understand that part of it. I think there is an expectation, though, particularly if you work for yourself, that you can control that. Like, it's one thing if like a boss is calling you and saying, you gotta be here or you're gonna lose your job. For us, I think there's this perception that there's so much more freedom around,
we can shut things down at any time and make room for whatever.
Which goes into another aspect of it, where it's like, can we really shut things down? We function like a pretty normal middle to upper middle class family, and so we gotta work.
Yes.
So then there's that, right? So really not being able to always say or shut a thing down because we gotta keep a thing going. Right. Can you think of like some other missteps or things that, not even missteps, but just challenges around the real raising of our kids?
The real raising of our kids in terms of the missteps. Well, I think that you, number one, are a very, very proficient mother overall, whether it's just being in this business or, just in general. So they have that strength in our family to begin with. I mean, you're over involved in a lot of aspects of the children's lives. So it's just I meant overly involved, not like over involved. But I mean, I'm sure that the kids in some ways would feel like, they may generally agree with, that concept. But in terms of missteps as a father, it's like there's no blueprint to being a father. And though I grew up with my father, I didn't grow up with my father with me every year of my life, and in terms of, development and growth and all of those different things. So in terms of having that specific example of how you're going to be and all of the different things that need to be there for your kids, outside of the obvious, you know what I mean? Like in terms of being a maintainer and a provider and a shoulder and a friend and, to be able to teach them different things. It's like there's even more intellectual things, communication education, you know, like there are things finer points, you know, details that some fathers, and I know that myself personally may miss, you know what I mean, because of just
I think we're ushering into, but I do think that there's like a process, right? So then there was our fathers who grew up, who were born in, let's say, generally our generation. Our dads are born in like the 1940s,
right,
roundabout, and you know they saw a lot of changes, but they came up really in survival mode, right? Mm-hmm. And then we came along, and then there was an improvement on that model, I believe. But then there's a group right below us, right? So maybe I guess millennials, maybe ex-millennials, whatever, millennials, where I do think there's been a bit of a shift in the thinking around those finer points in fatherhood. Like, and I think you can only kind of go with what you know at the time. For our generation, I do think there's definitely a vibe where the provider and the maintainer is the priority so much because of the ways in which we still have so many traditional lessons around parenthood and fatherhood. Mm-hmm. And I do think that moves its way into like the entertainer aspect, because it's like, listen, we have to maintain and provide for y'all. Mm-hmm. So there's a message to the children. Mm-hmm. This is our lives. Mm-hmm. You can't compare it to somebody else's life, mm-hmm. because your parents are in the entertainment industry. They're not, you know, the mailman or whomever who might go to work
the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker.
Exactly,
right?
To work for X amount of hours and then come home. But I do think that, you know, the difficulty around having to explain that there's been some separation anxiety, I think, with the kids.
Sure.
We've seen it happen particularly at a certain age range.
Yeah.
Like when they were toddlers and stuff, not so much.
Right.
But just around that early school age range until maybe about 4th, 5th grade, mm-hmm. there's this a time where we could not escape that us going on the road or traveling caused distress.
Yeah.
You know?
Where y'all going? It's like y'all going somewhere again? It's just kind of like that feeling. And then you start to feel guilty about it, and you start to feel like, well, damn, should I shut everything down? Because, you know, like the kids miss us and they want to, you know, they want to be around us. Or should we take them with us? And as you know how I've always been, you know, like, well, let's just take them with us. And it's always like, you know, that's way more work, you know, than we can always handle. Like,
because as the mother, having children on the road, it becomes a much heavier task, particularly when they are little.
Right.
But either way, we've won and lost in that scenario.
Yeah.
So there have been times where bringing the children with us was a welcome change, and they responded beautifully. Mm-hmm. And then there were other times that we took the children, and it was stressful. I want to bring up a time where we had a win-fail at the same time, trying to accommodate family and business.
Right.
I'll take you way back.
Okay.
When we went on the radio promotional tour for Surrender to Love, mm-hmm. and we were in a van.
Yes.
And at the time, our oldest was maybe he was 3 or 4, and Dia was an infant. Mm-hmm. She was an infant. Of course, the children were old enough to be left at home, but we did not. We brought them with us. And it was a win because they were with us. You know what I'm saying? And we were, you know, effectively Kindred, the family soul. Mm-hmm. And so that was great. And they were with us. We felt that they were safe and everything. But it was on that trip that we were in the car for a long period of time. And I remember Dia ended up getting diaper rash, made me so upset. I was so upset. And
that's never fun.
No, that was never fun. And it just kind of made us feel like they needed to have home life.
Right.
Their life didn't need to be.
That wasn't their program, and they didn't sign up to be doing in and out of hotels and you know, waiting long times in the van or whatever until we come back out.
You've not experienced parental guilt until you've had to give your baby an oatmeal bath at the Best Western.
Right.
It wasn't the Best Western. It was probably the Hyatt. But
well, no, it might have been the Best Western on the first album. Like at least a couple of times. Come on. And no disrespect to the Best Western. You know what I mean? But wait, is the Best Western that thing when the dude had to say it's above me now?
That was the best one.
I don't know. Wait a minute. Maybe we didn't stand the Best Western.
But it was.
We lost that sponsor. If we were ever going to get it.
But either way, it opened up something for me where it was like, okay, all right, these children, this is not their bag. This is not their job.
Yeah.
This is our job.
Right.
And I think it ushered in a new era for us. It was the era of family and who would care for these children in our absence and how long we would be absent, you know, what would be the vibe. Now I find that we travel, we come right back. We travel sometimes day of, which is typically in this business a big no-no. But we do what we have to do to get right back home, and those are some of the sacrifices we've made, you know, over the years.
Yeah, we definitely have jumped over some hurdles, I do believe, you know. And then, well, this has been 10 Minutes with Kindred. And,
or so,
you know, like we'll probably edit a little, but like, you know, we appreciate you listening, and we hope that you will subscribe to our podcast and share it with others. And we wish you well, and we wish you love and peace. God bless.
This has been brought to you by
Kindred, the family soul.